introduce the 300th Army Band that provided our opening performance. Please give them a round of applause.
네, 그럼 행사를 시작하겠습니다.
We will now begin the ceremony.
먼저 기수단 입장이 있겠습니다. 모두 자리에서 일어나 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
First, please welcome the color guard, who will start with the presentation of the national flags. Please rise.
네, 이어서 LA 국립묘지의 도브 코엔 군 목님의 개회 기도가 있겠습니다.
We will now have an invocation by President of Los Angeles National Cemetery Foundation, Chaplain Dove Cohen. Please welcome him to the stage.
네, 자리에 앉아주셔도 될 것 같습니다. 감사합니다. Please be seated.
Almighty Creator, this morning we come before you with deepest gratitude in our hearts for all the gifts you give us each day. Family, loved ones, loyal friends, laughter, values, and our great vocations in service to our countries, Korea and the United States of America. Help us always to receive these gifts with thanksgiving, and may our hearts be stirred to remember all your mercies when we receive through your love. Today, as we gather as guests of Consul General, the Honorable Young Won Kim, and First Lady, we recognize the spirit that makes our two nations great, a willingness to give totally of ourselves for freedom of all peoples, even unto death, and for the great blessings of being part of these two nations. For all the women and men of every race and creed who were and are willing to sacrifice to see a dream of equality and freedom come to fruition, and for the legacy of peace and wisdom they have each left us, we give thanks. May we each be worthy in our own lives of that noble legacy. Today, as we acknowledge all that they have bequeathed us and our two countries, help us be ever mindful of all that we have gained, and especially of all that we must still accomplish by working together. Your strength enables us to protect others. Your providence keeps us safe. Help us turn our hearts towards you each and every day, while we demonstrate that those who appear to be not just like us are indeed truly just like us. Today we also honor Chaplain Major Taylor Kim, United States Army, one of our own. I am proud to wear his name badge and share his words with you. May God bless the United States of America and the Republic of Korea, and keep safe the men and women who protect both countries. And we say together, Amen.
경례가 있겠습니다. 모두 일어서시어 전면에 주시기 바랍니다.
In reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, please rise and face the flag in front of you.
국기에 대하여 경례. 바로
나는 자랑스러운 태극기 앞에 자유롭고 정의로운 대한민국의 무궁한 영광을 위해 충성을 다할 것을 굳게 다짐합니다.
flag.
네, 바로 해주시면 되고요. 이어서 애국가와 미국 국가 제창이 있겠습니다. 먼저 애국가 제창이 있겠습니다. 노래는 테너 오위영님이 해주시겠습니다.
We will now have the singing of the national anthems of Korea and the United States. To start, singing 애국가, the Korean national anthem, please welcome tenor Oh Wee-young to the stage.
다음은 미국가 제창이 있겠습니다.
Next, we will have the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner, the United States national anthem.
한국소녀단 운영
감사합니다. 자리에 앉아주시면 되겠습니다. 바로 이어서 김영환 총영사님의 환영사가 있겠습니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Consul General Kim Young-won to the stage for opening remarks.
반갑습니다. 네, 이렇게 일요일 아침에 많이 참석해 주셔서 감사합니다. 아주 간단하게 많은 분들이 있기 때문에 세 가지 정도만 영어로 말씀을 드리겠습니다. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this special occasion to join us in celebrating, commemorating 73 years anniversary of the outbreak of the Korean War and honoring our Korean War heroes. Every year we commemorate this day, but this year's commemoration carries more meaning and weight to us. Number one, this year we celebrate the 70th anniversary of the signing of our mutual defense treaty between our two nations. And number two, we are here at the Orange County, the Korean War Memorial, which is the first memorial in the United States that bears the name of all the fallen heroes killed during the Korean War. And number three, we are holding this ceremony on the same day of the week, on Sunday, on which 73 years ago, communist forces attacked the nation. I'm truly grateful to everyone attending today. Decorated Korean War veterans, bereaved families, and distinguished guests. Let me say three things. We Koreans commemorate this day. June 25th, the war broke out. Not the other day, because we will never forget the tragedy that the war brought out. The day also reminds all of us how we were attacked, our nation was attacked, and how our nation and the value we hold dear, freedom, democracy, human rights, were protected with the assistance of the United Nations forces, including the United States. By commemorating this day, we always remember the importance of building an ironclad defense posture against any provocations based on our strong alliance. In this vein, I believe it is worthwhile to note that through the Washington Declaration during President Yoon's state visit last March, our alliance has once again upgraded based on the U.S. extended defense, confronting the escalating the DPRK's nuclear threats. Number two, we also commemorate this day to honor and remember the Korean War veterans with the utmost respect. Thanks to their tremendous sacrifices and services, the Republic of Korea is now firmly founded, with its economy prosperous and its democracy vibrant. What they defended 73 years ago is the peaceful today we Koreans now enjoy. We Koreans always remember who gave us our present. Joining us here today, we have Korean War veterans. Would you please stand up for a moment? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. These are the true Captain America, not on the movie screen, but our side. Finally, as the Korean president said, the dignity of our nation depends on whom we remember and how we remember, not on what we produce. And I believe there will be no borders when honoring patriots and veterans. The Korean government, together with the people, will continue to do our utmost to ensure that the war veterans and the bereaved families are held in esteem. With that said, on behalf of the Korean government and the people, let me once again deliver my utmost gratitude and respect to all the Korean War veterans around the world. Thank you very much. God bless you.
네, 유명한 수령사님 감사합니다. 다음은 제레미 호킨스 캘리포니아 주 방위군 79보병 전투여 단장님의 기념사가 있겠습니다.
Thank you, Consul General Kim. Next, please welcome the commander of the 79th Infantry Brigade, Colonel Jeremy Hopkins.
Mr. Kim Young-won, thank you for the invite today. Distinguished guests, veterans, family members, I'm honored and humbled to be up here today. As I think through my own past, I think through the times that I've been reminded of the Korean War, going back to when I was in high school, going to the Korean War Memorial, and seeing the 19 soldiers draped in ponchos and the faces on the wall. Reminder of the 38th parallel and those that sacrificed their youth so that others might have prosperity and peace. Did my first duty assignment with the Wolfhounds at the 25th Infantry Division, learning of the exploits and the honor and the courage of the folks such as Captain Millett, who led a bayonet charge of what would later be referred to as Bayonet Hill, saving his platoon and thereby earning the Medal of Honor. In my most recent assignment before taking command of the 79th, I was the G3 of the 40th Infantry Division, a division that fought in Korea, a division that today is mobilized to go partner, preserve peace in foreign countries as they get ready to mobilize. They remind me of Sergeant Bleak, who fought as part of a 20-person personnel patrol that on his way back got ambushed, fought off hand-to-hand conflict, defeating a number of enemies, bandaging up 4 of his soldiers and comrades, including himself, in order to save the 20-person patrol, also earning the Medal of Honor. It's stories like this that I know are not told often enough, and they're just a few of the heroic actions that took place during this conflict 73 years ago, when 100,000 North Koreans invaded South to push upon their beliefs of communism and authoritarianism. And it was the partnerships through the United Nations resolution that brought the Republic of Korea, the United States, and other allies to the defense of South Korea, that pushed back the wave of the attack, that showed that capitalism and freedom will prevail. Though 2.5 million personnel lost their lives over the course of the conflict, and we stand here in front of a memorial that recognizes the 36,591 service members that gave their lives from the United States. The legacy lives on. You all are the legacy. The veterans, thank you for your service. I serve today and stand on your shoulders. You all are mountains of people. So thank you for your service. Let's give them a round of applause. As was mentioned by the Consul General, this year also marks the alliance between the United States and the Republic of Korea. 70 years ago, an alliance that has moved on from stability and security, that has moved on to provide humanitarian and economic support and foster democratic institutions, not just in South Korea, but regionally, that has helped preserve peace and prosperity and has allowed freedom to continue to reign. You look at what South Korea is today, and it's amazing where things have gone when people are given an opportunity through the valor of others to be able to become what all they can be. The Army has a good saying of be all you can be. The South Koreans have proven that. Today, we'd like to honor the selflessness of the men and women who dedicated their lives to something bigger, to something broader than themselves. When they were called upon, they reacted, they answered that call. They went over and served and helped preserve the lives and the future of South Korea. And so today, as we go forward, let us remember them and the hope that they inspire, and that the importance of extending a helping hand to those in need and standing together to building a better future is what we must continue to do. For if we don't, it will fade. And those that have served, you know the calling. You know what all you have given, both in terms of your time and portions of your life that you can never get back. And for that we thank you. We thank you that we may be as bold to do so in our own lives, so that we can make the world a better place for our children and our grandchildren. Thank you.
다음은 박병정 제향국인회 미 남서부지회 회장님의 기념사가 있겠습니다.
Thank you, Colonel Hopkins. Please welcome the President of the Korean American Veterans Association NOC, Sam Park.
73년 전 청춘의 나이에 이영만리 머나먼 길을 떠나 어디에 있는지도 이름도 보지 못했던 나라 대한민국의 자유와 평화를 수여하다 장렬하게 사하신 젊은 참전용사들을 깊이 추모합니다. 73년 전 6.25 전쟁 당시 유엔의 이름으로 우리의 조국 대한민국의 자유와 평화를 수여한 참전국가 여러분께 감사를 드립니다. 또한 오늘 이들의 숭고한 정신을 기리고자 시간을 내어 참석하신 여러분을 존경합니다. 존경하는 내 기대인 여러분, 1950년 6월 25일 북한의 기신 남침으로 대한민국의 전망이 풍전등과 같이 위급했을 때 세계 22개의 국이 유엔의 깃발 아래 저희를 돕기 위해 역사적 파병을 해줬습니다. 미국을 비롯한 16개국은 전투병을 파병하여 공산 세력을 물리쳤고 독일, 스웨덴 6개국은 의료 지원단을 파병하여 치료와 난민을 동원했습니다. 100만의 국군이 참전 14여 명의 군인과 52만 명의 민간인이 죽은 이 전쟁에 유엔군 또한 5만 8천여 명이 산화한 비극의 전쟁이었습니다. 이들의 죽음이 헛되지 않게 대한민국을 뭉쳐 피와 땀을 흘려 폐허에 위해서 우뚝 섰습니다. 세계 10대 경제국의 하나로 발전했습니다. 이웃 나라를 도와주는 나라가 이제 되었습니다. 여기 잠들어 있는 3만 7천여 명의 미군이 있어 가능한 일이었습니다. 나라를 위해 희생하신 영웅들이요, 참전 공자들이요, 저는 잊지 않겠습니다. 당신들이 흘린 피를 얻은 자유와 평화를 영웅들이요 영원히 기억하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. 다음은 위 제국 제향군인회 미 서부지회 회장님의 기념사가 있겠습니다.
Thank you, Mr. Park. Please welcome President of the Korean American Veterans Association in West Region, Mr. Jae-Kook Lee, to the stage.
Hello. I'm commander of the Korean Veteran Association. Today, in commemoration of the 73rd anniversary of Korean War, the 625 Memorial event held in a meaningful place. Meaningful place, especially a memorial to 36,591 Korean War veterans were erected here in Hillcrest Park 3 years ago as a special meeting. You and I have never met each other, and we have no ties to each other. A poor country called the Republic of Korea. Across the Pacific Ocean, only to protect democracy and plant freedom and peace. I give you reverent respect and gratitude. In particular, this year also marks the 70th anniversary of the ROK-US alliance, because President Syngman Lee had an insight into our future. We who went through the war formed an alliance with the United States, the most powerful military power, and until today, we enjoy freedom and peace and realize democracy. If you think about it, We are a nation that has received plenty of love from God. If there are 36,000 young people who sacrificed their youth for us, didn't he send a leader, the President Syngman Lee, who had a great insight? The grace was not in vain. Look at our country today. Semiconductor, shipbuilding, defense industries. It has grown to overwhelm the world in every way. Is that all? Now at such an airport, KF-21 jet fighter are flying in the skies of the world every day. All these are fruit of God's best love, recalling the precious sacrifice of Korean War veterans. We are reverently grateful. Thank you. 안녕하십니까. 저는 제한소년의 미서부 회장 위재국입니다. 오늘 한국전쟁 73주년을 맞이해서 특히 이곳 힐크레스트 공원 3년 전에 36,591명의 참전용사를 기린 추모비를 세운 곳, 뜻깊은 곳에서 행하는 6.25 추모 행사는 남다른 뜻을 지니게 됩니다. 서로가 만난 적도 없고 인연이 닿는 아무런 연고가 없는 대한민국이라는 가난한 나라, 우리들을 위해 태평양을 건너 오직 민주주의를 지키고 자유와 평화를 심어놓겠다고 아까운 청춘을 바친 넋들, 새삼 저의 경건한 존경과 감사를 드립니다. 특히 우리는 한미동맹 70주년 기념회이기도 합니다. 이승만 대통령께서 우리의 미래에 대한 해안이 계셨기에 전쟁을 겪은 우리가 막강한 군사력 1위인 미국과 동맹관계를 맺어 오늘까지 우리는 자유와 평화를 누리며 민주주의를 실감하고 있지 않습니까? 생각하면 우리는 하나님의 사랑을 듬뿍 받은 민족입니다. 우리를 위해 청춘을 희생하신 여기 36,000명의 젊은이들이 있느냐 하면 위대한 해안을 가진 이승만 대통령 같은 지도자를 보내지 않았으니 그 은혜는 헛되지 않았습니다. 오늘날 우리 조국을 보십시오. 반도체, 조선업, 방산, 방위산업 그 모든 면에서 세계를 압도하고 성장했습니다. 그뿐입니까? 지금 사천 비행장엔 KF 전투기가 창공을 가르며 세계의 하늘을 날고 있습니다. 이 모든 것이 하나님이 베푸신 사랑의 결실이 아닌가요? 참전용사들의 값진 희생을 다시금 상기하면서 경건하게 감사하는 마음을 갖습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 오늘 기념식을 위해서 많은 내빈 여러분들이 참석해 주셨는데요. 참석해 주신 내빈 여러분들의 격려사를 듣도록 하겠습니다. 격려사가 많은 관계로 짧게 부탁드릴게요.
Thank you, Mr. Wee. We have many distinguished guests present today, and at this time, we would like to invite them to the stage to hear their words of encouragement. Due to time constraints, please keep your remarks brief.
네, 제일 먼저 한국 전쟁에 직접 참전하셨고 지난 5월 대한민국 대통령님으로부터 태극 무공훈장을 받으신 로이스 윌리엄스님의 격려사가 있겠습니다. 윌리엄스 대령님은 한국 전쟁 기간 중에 미국이 4대를 격추시킨 동시대 최고의 파일럿이셨습니다.
Firstly, we will hear from Mr. Royce Williams, who personally served in the Korean War and received the Order of Military Merit Taeguk Medal from the President of the Republic of Korea. Please welcome Mr. Williams to the stage.
So, General, sir, and distinguished and friendly people, I'm so pleased to be here. It's an honor indeed. I was there a long time ago, but I've had opportunities to refresh our relationship and my feelings for South Korea. I have feelings for North Korea too, but left unsaid. I had a ship in the area many years ago, but it was a command ship, and we had U.S. Marines, generals, Navy admiral, and I had a South Korean Commodore and his staff on board too. I was very pleased. Where's our government? Even from the air. I don't know if you know why, but I was invited to go to Seoul and meet with President Eisenhower and his distinguished group of admirals and generals, secretaries. Wonderful event. While I was there, I looked around. This is wartime. This is 52. And beautiful city lay in ruins. Trees are not, they're just an ugly sight. 2 bridges, and they were in the water. I was honored to visit there about 4 years ago and opened down the DMZ, Panmunjom, but most of all, honored to meet your president, Moon, and the Prime Minister, and the General in charge of the United Nations forces. And that was impressive enough, but as I looked around, I saw a beautiful city with 20-some bridges across it and traffic everywhere. Not a cigarette butt or anything on the ground, clean view, parks, athletic areas, United Nations and Olympics, everything. It was just a wonderful sight. And that city and that nation has climbed back from the destruction and the hate that goes with war. And it's the 10th most wonderful country in the world. Most wonderful on top of that, but as far as industry and output and so forth. Well, it's my honor to be here. I'm not representing really anybody but me, but I want to tell you, it's important to me, and every opportunity I have to express my appreciation for all those Korean and Americans and other nations that help us through those terrible years and still stand by because we're still threatened. But thank God for democracy and freedom, and we both share it. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다. 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드립니다. Thank you. 네, 이어서 미셸 스박 연방하원 의원님의 격려사가 있겠습니다.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Next, we would like to ask Congresswoman Michelle Steele Park to make her remarks.
Thank you for inviting me today. Korean War veterans, without you, there's no way I'm standing here because my both parents fled from North Korea during the Korean War from the different region of North Korea, and they came down to South and they married, and then I was born, so thank you. Without you, I'm not here as a first Korean American congressman. Good morning, everyone. Today we observe 73rd anniversary of start of the Korean War. I'm honored to join you in recognizing the brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice as well as honor the service of our veterans during this war. As a first-generation Korean American, I'm always reminded of a simple but profound truth. the freedom is not free. My parents fled from North Korea at the start of Korean War. Since then, my native country has been divided, and the Korean Peninsula has become home to a free and thriving democracy in the South, and the repressive dictatorship in the North. I know what it means to live in a country under the constant threat of violence. Our amazing country and the liberties it provides would not exist without the sacrifice of those who have given their lives in its service. In every corner of this land, from coast to coast, there are hallowed grounds where we heroes rest. We are fortunate to be here in Fullerton, in my own district, our very own Korean War Memorial, to honor their memory. While we will never be able to repay their sacrifice, we can and must dedicate ourselves to honoring their memory. Because of their courage, our nation had stood as a beacon of freedom and a refuge of democracy for the entire world. Our continued strong alliance with the Republic of Korea is proof of this. Because of these men and women, my family and millions like mine were able to find hope and a future in the greatest country in the world. I am humbled to be living my American dream. We honor their memory by exercising the rights that they gave their lives to defend. We enjoy full lives committed to serving others and making our communities better for future generations. And we ensure that keep our promises to our veterans and our military services. We remember these brave men and women's service, honor their legacy, and humbly say thank you. As the inheritors of their sacrifice, entrusted with the duty to protect and preserve the freedom they fought to defend, may we never forget the cost of liberty. Thank you very much, and I'm very honored to stand here.
감사합니다. 다음은 데이브 민 캘리포니아 주 상원 의원님의 격려사가 있겠습니다.
안녕하세요. My name is Dave Min, and it's an honor to be here representing this, announcing this very, very important day. I represent California's 37th Senate District, just to the south of here, including Irvine, where we know there's a very large Korean population. This is a very important day for me because I would not be standing here without the sacrifices of the 36,000 plus GIs who gave their lives to defend South Korea. My parents were born in 1947, so they grew up during the Korean War and its aftermath, and but for the sacrifices of GIs, of so many millions of Koreans, my parents would have grown up, I would have grown up in something like North Korea's totalitarian communist regime. Because of your sacrifices, we were able to achieve our dreams. My parents came here in 1971, they got married, they had me and my younger brother Andrew, and in many ways, in every way, we are the embodiment of the American dream, and we owe everything we have to the original sacrifices made by those GIs 73 years ago. South Korea today is a shining beacon because of those sacrifices. It's not only one of our closest allies, it's become an economic and cultural powerhouse, and it's an example of what can flourish when we have democracy and liberty and capitalism. But none of this would have been possible without American intervention in that war in a country far away from home. And so again, thank you. When people talk about American exceptionalism and the American dream, I think too many young people today think these are just words, they're abstract. But for us as Koreans, as Korean Americans, we know this is personal, this is true, this is part of our lived experience, part of our history, because we would not be here without those sacrifices. Korea, as we know it, would not be here without those sacrifices. So words cannot express my gratitude to the courageous servicemen who fought and served in the Korean War, And I want to thank the U.S. veterans, the servicemen who are here with us today. Let's give them a round of applause. I know that Korea is grateful, but Korean Americans, the millions of us in this country, are grateful to you, eternally grateful, because we owe everything we have to your service and your sacrifice, and so thank you so much. To show my deep appreciation and to recognize the importance of the U.S.-Korea alliance, which we're now marking 70 years, I've been proud to author Senate Concurrent Resolution 72, which recognizes and supports the importance of this alliance in the California legislature. Unfortunately, I think Assemblywoman Sharon Quirk-Silva, who is a co-author of this, cannot be here today, but we have a certificate to present right here, which I think we'll present later. I also want to thank Consul General Kim for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to address you all today. But again, thank you so much for your service. May this last another 70 years of a robust and strong relationship of closeness between our two countries.
감사합니다. 네, 순서에 제가 조금 착오가 있어서 죄송합니다. 먼저 영킴 의원님을 소개했어야 되는데요. 다음에 소개해드리겠습니다. Next we'll hear from Congresswoman Young Kim. Young Kim 연방 하원님의 격려사가 있겠습니다. 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
Good morning, everyone. It's truly an honor to stand before you to commemorate the 73rd anniversary of the outbreak of the Korean War. This is a special year, as Consul General Kim mentioned, as so many of you remember what used to be called the Forgotten War. But as you know, we never forget. 70 plus years later, we come together every year, year after year, to thank those American veterans of the Korean War who gave us the freedom, who gave us the liberty, who gave us the ability to come to the United States. And as was mentioned by previous speakers before, I would not be here serving as your representative in Washington, D.C., giving the voice of the Korean Americans, giving the voice of the Koreans, giving the voice of Americans, of what a special privilege it is for us to be living here in the land of the freedom. Because many of you gave the ultimate sacrifice. Many of you who are still with us, we thank you with a profound appreciation. The defining moment of our special U.S.-ROC relations was exemplified this year when we hosted South Korean President Yoon in the United States, when we welcomed him to give us the joint sessions speech before the entire members of Congress and the senators. And another defining moment for me was to be invited when President Yoon honored 3 American war veterans of the Korean War and gave them the ultimate Medal of Honor, Taeguk Medal. As I was sitting there watching that special moment, I said, this is what makes our U.S.-ROC alliance solid. It's going to be stronger, and I guarantee you, as a chairwoman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Subcommittee on Indo-Pacific, I will continue to make sure that our U.S. Republic of Korea relationship continues to be the strongest between any 2 alliances. And that's because you make it possible for us to do the job. As someone who represented this North Orange County area and someone who continued to represent you in a very, very special way, I am very delighted to be one of those Korean Americans serving our community together, serving as a bridge between our 2 strong alliances. Thank you so much for being here. Let's continue to remember those sacrifices and the families who had to go through so much pain that is very difficult to describe. But I want to thank you so much for being here. 같이 갑시다.
네, 감사합니다. 이어서 더그 치어피 오렌지 카운티 슈퍼바이저님의 격려사가 있겠습니다.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Please welcome Orange County Supervisor Doug Chaffee.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here and to see what has happened. About 10 years ago, I was mayor of the city here, and it was a privilege to sign the original memorandum of understanding with Joe Pack, who is here also. It eventually led to the establishment of this memorial. Now I come forward as a member of the Orange County Board of Supervisors. We're doing something else. We're creating a veteran cemetery in Orange County. If you drive east on the 91 freeway toward the end of the county limits, before you get to Corona, you see a large flag, a large American flag. We call that Flag 1. That's where the cemetery will be. It's kind of fun to be there because the truckers that go by are blasting their horns when they see that sign. But we especially invited our allies who fought with us in the cause of freedom to be buried there as well, specifically naming our Korean allies who will be eligible to be interred there should they so choose. It's important that we join together in the cause of freedom. We alone, America, cannot do it alone. We must have the help of others, and I was so pleased that the Korean natives helped us so much in that cause. You can see how they've become today and prospered under the democratic freedom that they now have. I'd also like to particularly welcome a new sister city that we have, Songnam. I hope I say that right. We just recently created our second Korean sister city, the first one being the city of Yongin, where I was pleased to visit several years ago on a city sister trip. But now I'd like to welcome particularly our new second Korean sister city, and they have a delegation here, and I thank you for coming and joining us today. It's very special to have you here. So I do have a certificate of recognition I'd like to present to Secretary General Kim, if I may, and I hope this is not out of order, but it's a recognition of the 73rd anniversary of the Korean War and the sacrifices that were made. Sir. Simply add one more thing. I'm so pleased to have this thriving community from Korea here. This is my hometown of more than 70 years. I used to play in this park as a kid. I used to come down here in this spot that was vacant, and we would throw a football around and do other activities. So it's so great now to see this terrific new use of it, honoring the people who fought for our freedom. So thank all of you for attending today.
네, 감사합니다. 이어서 플러튼시와 자매도시인 성남시의 신상진 시장님께서 특별히 여기 참석해 주셨는데요. 앞으로 모셔서 축사를 듣도록 하겠습니다.
Thank you, Supervisor. We have a special guest today. Please welcome Shin Sang-jin, the mayor of Songnam City, which is the sister city of Fullerton.
예, 반갑습니다. 우리 성남시에서 온 신상진 시장입니다. 저는 우리 플러턴시 프레드정 시장님과 함께 우리 자매결연 도시를 맺고 또 우리 성남관, 성남 비즈니스 센터를 플러턴시에 우리 개관을 또 내일 모레 하게 됩니다. 이러한 와중에 제가 이곳 훌륭한 힐 레스트 공원에서 우리 함께 우리 6.25 한국전 참전용사 우리 미군 참전용사 분들을 이렇게 또 뵙게 돼서 저는 진심으로 감사드립니다. 우리 이 자리를 만들어주신 김영환 우리 LA 총영사님을 비롯해서 우리 수고하신 모든 분들께 진심으로 감사를 드립니다. 오늘의 대한민국의 번영과 자유의 나라가 되기까지는 우리 미군 36,591명의 그런 고귀한 희생 때문에 우리 대한민국에 오늘이 있다고 생각합니다. 이렇게 참전해 주신 우리 미국에 대해서 우리 대한민국 국민들은 깊은 감사를 느끼고 있습니다. 그러한 우리 한국과 미국의 동맹, 피로 맺어진 동맹이 앞으로 더욱 공고하게 돼서 우리 대한민국의 자유와 번영 더욱 이루어지도록 저도 성남시장으로서 대한민국 국민으로서 최선을 다하겠습니다. 우리 미군 참전용사들의 고귀한 희생은 끝까지 영원히 이어질 것이라고 생각하며 우리 참전용사 우리 여러분 뵙게 돼서 감사드리고 더욱 건강하시고 행복하시기를 바랍니다. 우리 한국과 미국 동맹 만세!
네, 감사합니다. 네, 다음은 오늘 행사가 열리는 이곳 플러튼시의 시장이신 프레드 정 시장님을 모시겠습니다. 오늘 이 기념식을 위해 많은 도움을 주셨는데요. 감사하고요. 여러분 많은 박수 부탁드립니다.
Thank you, Mayor Shin. Now I'd like to introduce the Mayor of Fullerton, Fred Jung. With his support, we were able to hold this event successfully. Please welcome him to the stage again.
여러분 반갑습니다. 이렇게 바쁜 일요일 시간 와가지고 대단히 고맙습니다. Good morning, everyone. I want to extend my heartfelt appreciation to the Honorable Consul General of the Republic of Korea in Los Angeles. I want to welcome our congressional leaders, Mayor Shin Jang-jin, and the many dignitaries who traveled to Fullerton from our sister city of Seongnam. Distinguished guests, and each and every one of you, welcome to Fullerton. You know, I note that whenever I'm in the nation's capital, I have a tendency to walk through the Korean Memorial. We'll never forget and always remember is that it states unequivocally that our nation honors her sons and daughters who answered the call to defend a country they never knew and a people they never met. As the Korean American mayor of the city of Fullerton, the home to this Korean memorial, and the densest population of Koreans outside of Seoul, it is not lost on me that I stand here today profoundly grateful and with even greater humility. I am a true testament to the incredible sacrifices of these soldiers and their families. I stand here knowing my story is part of the greater American story, and that I owe a debt to all those who generously gave their lives, sacrificing for a country that they've never been to, people they've never met. I could give a history lesson about that country to the more than 36,000 American soldiers who laid down their lives for it. And addressing them respectfully, I can tell you from an undeveloped, unsophisticated country torn apart by war and Japanese occupation, Korea is focused on its educational system, and by educating its population, Korea has since developed into a high-income country and a top 10 economy in the world in just 2 generations. Korea builds ships, great big ones, and produces some of the world's best automobiles, televisions, phones, and appliances. It is now the most technologically advanced country in the modern world, and its people are free because of your sacrifice. I am certain that brings little solace to the American families who lost their loved ones to war. The fact that we sleep safely at night is because soldiers stand ready to visit violence on those who would harm us. I find great comfort in the words of President Abraham Lincoln, who wrote, "I feel how weak and fruitless must be any word of mine which should attempt to beguile you from the grief of a loss so overwhelming. But I cannot refrain from tendering you the consolation that may be found in the the thanks of the Republic they died to save. I pray that our Heavenly Father may assuage you the anguish of your bereavement and leave you only the cherished memory of the loved and lost, and the solemn pride that must be yours to have laid so costly a sacrifice on the altar of freedom. I can assure you, like all of us here, I am only here today because a soldier, Korean or American, made a decision to lay down his or her life to defend liberty. As we commemorate the 70-year alliance between our two countries, let's not be complacent. 70 years later, a country and its people remain divided along the 38th parallel. And 70 years later, democracy is not only threatened in a war-torn Ukraine, but also here at home. Democracy takes courage to keep it alive. People often complain to me and say democracy is hard. I always say back to them, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be because so many gave their lives to protect it. 고맙습니다.
감사합니다. 73년 전에 한국 전쟁이 발발했을 때 많은 나라들이 군대들을 파병해서 저희를 도와줬는데요. 오늘 이 자리에 튀르키예 총영사님과 콜롬비아 총영사님이 참석하셨어요. 튀르키예는 당시 4번째로 많은 병력을 파견하였으며 김양장 전투, 150일 고지 전투 등 맹활약을 했습니다. 또한 콜롬비아는 남미에서 유일하게 파병을 해주셨고 금성 전투, 불모고지 전투 등에서 큰 활약을 했습니다. 먼저 신한 쿠즘 튀르키예 총영사님을 모시겠습니다. 박수로 맞이해 주시기 바랍니다.
When the Korean War broke out, many countries sent their troops to help us. The Consul General of Turkey and the Consul General of Colombia are here today. Turkey dispatched the 4th largest number of troops at that time and won a great victory in the Battle of Apologies. And Hill 151. Colombia was also the only South American country to send troops, and it played a big role in the Battle of Kumsong and Old Balti. First, we will hear from Sinan Kuzum, Consul General of the Republic of Turkey.
Hi everyone, good morning. It's a great honor for me to be here, so thank you very much, Consul General Kim, to invite us here. During the Korean War, 5 million soldiers and civilians lost their lives, mostly Koreans. It's a big human tragedy. I hope we will not face something like this again. My country contributed 20,000 soldiers for this war to defend democracy and modern values and capitalism together with our South Korean friends and American friends. We didn't lose 30,000 soldiers or like millions of Koreans, but people from thousands of miles away from their homeland went to Korea to fight with their Korean sisters and brothers, and around 1,000 of them in total lost their lives. And in the war of Kunuri, while they were trying to stop attacking communist force, we lost many of them. That made us, the Turks and Koreans, blood brothers. We never forget that our soldiers who lost their lives there for their Korean brothers and sisters. But the soldiers there, they were not only to fight, they also took care of the orphans of Korean war. They built a school called Ankara School, and they funded it for a very long time to give education for the Korean children who lost their fathers and mothers. But the Koreans did not forget us either. When we needed, when you needed your help, our help, we were there. When we needed your help, after the earthquakes happened in my country this year, you came to help. Government of Korea was one of the first countries sending search and rescue teams, and Korean Americans collected monetary foundations plus in-kind donations, and they delivered to me personally, so I will never forget that. Thank you very much for your help.
이어서 올가 시엘로 몰리나 델라 비자 콜롬비아 총영사님의 축사를 듣겠습니다.
Thank you, Consul General. Now, please welcome Olga Cielo Molina de la Villa, Consul General of the Republic of Colombia.
안녕하세요, 여러분. Thank you to the Honorable Young Kim, Consul General of the Republic of Korea, for inviting me today as we commemorate the 73rd anniversary of the Korean War. I feel honored to be here surrounded by the Korean community in Los Angeles, as it reminds me of what I call home for 4 years while serving at the Colombian Embassy in Seoul. Almost a decade ago, Korea greeted me with welcoming hospitality. I got to experience the beautiful dance between cultural heritage and its economic development, embrace our common understanding of democracy, and witness its growing influence through Hallyu and ODA. I acknowledge that this is all came through great sacrifice during the Korean War. However, today we also get to commemorate the everlasting friendship and alliance shaped during that time. Colombia feels honored to have extended its hand during the war as the only participating Latin American country, and now witness Korea's capacity to be a helping hand around the world. So today I want to invite you all to honor the past, live in the present, and move together towards a prosperous future. Thank you.
감사합니다. 이어서 오렌지 카운티 한인회 조봉남 회장님의 축사를 듣겠습니다.
Thank you, Consul General. Next, we have Bong-nam Cho, President of the Korean Association of OC. Please welcome him to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. My name is James Cho. I'm Korean American Federation of Orange County President. First of all, thank you for United States of America and the United Nations Army and the veterans who participate in the Korean War. 안녕하십니까? 오렌지 카운티 한인회장 조봉남입니다. 1950년 6월 25일 새벽에 북괴군이 38선을 탱크와 기관포로 등을 앞세워 쳐들어와서 3일 만에 수도 서울이 함락되고 대구까지 밀려내려와 부산만 함락되면 끝나는 아찔한 순간에 미국 33대 34대 대통령을 역임한 해리스 트루만 대통령이 1분도 지체하지 말고 미군을 참전시키라는 명령 때문에 큰 위기를 넘겼습니다. 세계 많은 젊은이들이 자유와 평화를 위해 이역만리 들어보지도 못한 대한민국을 위해 장렬하게 산화하신 UN 참전용사와 미군 참전용사께 30만 한인을 대표하여 이 자리를 빌어서 감사 인사를 드리겠습니다. 오늘날 우리 조국은 눈부신 경제 발전으로 민주화를 이루었고 지금의 대한민국을 있게 한 참전 유공자들의 피와 땀으로 세워진 나라인 것을 잊지 말아야 됩니다. 오늘 6.25 기념식을 맞이하여 전쟁의 역사적 우위를 재조명하고 우리 미주 동포들의 나라 사랑과 정신을 함양하여 대한민국의 새로운 미래를 위해서 안보 태세를 새롭게 해야 된다고 생각하는 바입니다. 전쟁의 총성은 멎었지만 분단의 냉엄한 현실은 여전히 우리를 위협하고 있습니다. 이제 한반도는 평화의 발원지로서 번영의 중심축이 되어 새로운 코리아를 만드는데 우리 미주 동포들이 앞장서야 됨을 잊지 말고 조국 통일에 기여해야 되겠습니다. 대한민국의 민주주의 1등 공신은 6.25 참전국과 자유를 위해 희생한 모든 용사들, 그리고 국가 소홀을 책임지고 있는 현역 군인에 대한 위로와 격려, 6.25 전쟁에 대한 미래 세대의 교육이 얼마나 중요함을 알고 우리는 꼭 후세들에게 6.25 전쟁에 대해서 알려야 되는 사명감을 갖고 있습니다. 앞으로도 대한민국이 걸어가는 길에 변함없는 사랑과 관심을 가져주시길 바라면서 다시 한번 더 참전국과 참전용사께 고맙고 감사한 마음을 영원히 잊지 않겠다는 말씀을 드리며 인사를 대신하겠습니다. Thank you for your service. Thank you.
감사합니다. 다음은 태미 김 얼바인 부시장님의 축사를 듣겠습니다.
Thank you. Please welcome Tammy Kim, Vice Mayor of Irvine, California.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you for inviting me here today. Thank you, Council General Kim, for the opportunity to say a few words as we remember and pay homage to the countless souls who made the ultimate sacrifice. And thank you to Mayor Fred Jung for opening up your heart and your city to have this event. Today we honor the sacrifice of those who died in freedom of my birthplace. And I think about my son, who's 20 years old right now. And to me, he's just a baby still. And I think about you all and how scared you must have been as 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and I think maybe some snuck in a little bit younger, how scared you must have been going to a foreign country in a place you never even heard of to fight in the cold, in the heat, and how hard that must have been. And last year, I actually made a promise to 90-year-old veteran Roman Morales, who was at the Council General's residence. And I made a promise to him, and I will make a promise to you all, that you will never, ever be forgotten. Never. You will always be honored, and I will always say your name, and I will say the name of veteran soldier Roman Morales. I thank you to all the partner countries. When I came to this country, we were still a third world country, Korea. And Korea was only known in the context of war and poverty. But now we are an economic powerhouse. And I look forward to the continued partnership between the United States and the Republic of Korea. But we still have a lot more work to do, including calling for the end of the Korean War. Because until we have unification, we need to ensure that all of your sacrifices and all those who perished and died will not be in vain. So thank you very much.
네, 감사합니다. 다음은 한국전에 참전하신 참전용사분들의 희생과 헌신에 감사하는 의미에서 평화의 사도 메달을 전도하도록 하겠습니다.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Now, in gratitude for the sacrifices and dedication of the veterans who participated in the Korean War, we will present the Ambassador for Peace Medal.
존 루소님, 앞으로 나와주시기 바랍니다. 메달은 김영환 총영사님께서 전수하시겠습니다.
Please come forward, Mr. John Russo. Consul General Young-Won Kim will present the medal. It is a great honor and pleasure to express the everlasting gratitude of the Republic of Korea and our people for the service you and your countrymen have performed in restoring and preserving our freedom and democracy. We cherish in our hearts the memory of your boundless sacrifices in helping us reestablish our free nation. In grateful recognition of your dedicated contributions, it is our privilege to proclaim you an ambassador for peace.
사라진 전우야 달빛 어린 고개에서 마지막 나누어 먹던 바람담배 연기 속에 사라진 전우야 터지는 포탄을 무릅쓰고 앞으로 한강수야 차리거라 우리는 돌진한다 흙이 묻은 철강모를 손으로 하루 만지기 떠오른다 내 가슴에 똑같이 별같이 흙이 묻은 철강모를 손으로 하루 만지기 떠오른다 내 가슴에 똑같이 별같이
감사합니다. 다음은 축도 시간입니다. 다시 한번 도브 팬께서 수고해 주시겠습니다.
It is now time for the benediction. We would like to thank Chaplain Dov Cohen for his contributions and welcome him to the stage once more.
Leadership of these important organizations that are represented here today have led us well. We ask for God's strength and health and wisdom to continue so that they may continue leading us in the most successful fashion from which we have all benefited all these years. And I ask you all to join me as we say, Amen.
Amen. 네, 마지막으로 저희 기념 촬영을 할 건데요. 내외빈 여러분께서는 기념비 앞으로 모여주시면 감사하겠습니다. 기념비는
구독, 좋아요는 우리에게 큰 힘이 됩니다.